I first came to Yellowstone National Park when I was 18 years old. I came out with my dad on a pack trip as a graduation present from high school. And when we got there, we met Dick Clark at the trailhead. And when I first met him at the trailhead, I was like in awe. Here's this great big 6'4" stout. I mean, he's built like a grizzly bear, cowboy kind of guy. He had these giant, massive hands, and he'd come up and just put his hand on your shoulder, and you just felt like a bear just laid his hand on your shoulder, and he would just talk to you. And there you are sitting around the fire, and he starts out and he says, you know, why are you here? And I listened to the other folks, and we had folks who were there. I'm here to go to Yellowstone for the first time. I'm here to ride a horse for the first time. This is my first time camping. And when I sat there, I looked at Dick and I said, I want your job. And I was saying, I want to learn to do what you do. And Dick heard me say, I'm here to replace you. And that started something. The pack trip is where we take a multi-day horse excursion into the backcountry, away from the roads and the crowds. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. I want to be like him in that I take people into the backcountry and I show them the backcountry, but you don't just show people Yellowstone, because people don't understand what they're looking at. When they come to Yellowstone, they're like, wow, trees, and they see fish, and they see the geysers and the thermal things, and they don't really understand what they're looking at as guides. And what Dick Clark did with me is that he just helped me understand what I was looking at. And I really began to see Yellowstone not just as this unique, you know, place that's on a map, but it's almost like it's its own organism. There's something unique about Yellowstone. The phrase that we have used is that Yellowstone was my siren. It kept calling me back. In '98, we decided we were going to move out here together. And we drove out in 2 trucks. She drove one, I drove the other. I drove in the front with the truck and a horse trailer. She drove behind me to pick up all the pieces of the Ford as it fell apart down the road. And as we got out here, it was a real journey to get here. We rolled in and shut off the truck, and I didn't think it was going to turn back on again. I mean, we just barely made it in. That night, my wife looked at me and she just burst into tears and said, I want to go home. And I told her, honey, if after a year you don't like it, then I'll pack up everything, we'll give up packing, and we'll just go back home. And after a year, she had fallen in love with Bozeman, with the West, with our life, and it was good. We provide everything. You bring your clothes, your toothbrush, your camera, your fishing gear, you know, whatever you want to do for that particular trip. And we provide everything else. We set up all the tents, saddle all the horses, do all the work so that you can go back and relax and enjoy the backcountry. And it's not just roughing it, because roughing it's great to a certain extent, but we want you to come back and enjoy yourself. So if we can cook good meals for you, we can provide certain amenities for you, then you can be comfortable back here. That's what we want to do. I mean, that's a neat thing about Yellowstone, not only being the flagship, the first national park, and it's so large. It's 2.4 million acres. And because it's so large, it has some of the most remote places in the lower 48. So the thoroughfare country down in the southeast corner is considered the most remote place in the lower 48 states. When you're in the middle of that, you are 33 miles from a road in any direction. So you're 66 miles between roads. You don't get any more wild than that. Part of what I love about Yellowstone is that I love to share Yellowstone with other people. You know, you can look at these flowers and take that beauty in, and I can learn all the birds and the trees and the flowers and things and take all that in, but if I can't give it back out, it feels like it's wasted. So many people have come up and said, I just want to sit here on this log and just look around and just experience it. I'm like, then you and I are on the right trip together, because that's the kind of guy I am. I mean, Sarah knew that I loved Yellowstone, and she knew that I loved being in the backcountry, and she knew that I was created to do this. I just am designed to be a guide. I can reach the top of my mules, and I can walk through tall grass. It's part of just, you're built that way. But he made me like that in here too. because being in the backcountry, it's like home. It's as much home here as it is to be in my house with my family. Our modern first world has lost touch with the backcountry, lost touch with the wilds. When I take folks into the backcountry and to walk through a meadow and feel the flowers and the dew on your fingers or the rain on your hands, that's getting in touch with the wild. So I want to teach them, I want to help them understand the wilds and really feel the wilds. And when you don't have a sense of wildness, you lose the value of the wild places. And after a while, the wild places just go away. And Yellowstone was the flagship national park. People saw this and said, this is something that needs to be set aside and preserved for future generations. And that's my job. My job is to help them get connected by interpreting what they're looking at. It's a foreign language, they don't understand it. And if I can interpret it for them, then they can understand the land, they can understand the air, they can understand the whole thing. So I like to think that a guide is an interpreter of the wilds.